We are good.
All right. We'll go ahead and call to order the Valley County Planning and Zoning Commissioners meetings for September 9th, 2021. Cinda, can we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Freeman.
Here.
Benton.
Here.
Cooper.
Here.
Fort.
Here.
And Commissioner Thompson is not present, but we do have a quorum.
Alrighty, we will go ahead and continue then since we have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the minutes from both the August 12th and the August 19th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to read and review the minutes?
I have. Yes. Yes.
Any changes or corrections?
No. No.
Right, I would entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 12th and August 19th.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is new business. Vacation 21-06, vacation of a portion of San Ignacio Way and associated utility, drainage, and snow storage easements. This is a public hearing. Is there any ex parte or conflict of interest?
I don't have any.
No. No.
Nope. All right, Cinda, may we please have a staff report?
Okay, the staff report for vacation application 2106, vacation of a portion of San Ignacio Way and associated utility, drainage, and snow storage easements. The applicant is Julie Urenga. The property is a private road right-of-way in Eagle Nest subdivision number 2 in the northeast-northwest of section 20, township 14 north, range 4 east of the Boise Meridian, Valley County, Idaho. Julie Urenga is requesting a vacation of a portion of a private road right-of-way and the associated easements. This portion of road was originally a cul-de-sac for the terminus of San Ignacio Way. The road has now been continued into the adjacent Eagle Nest subdivision number 3. The road right-of-way is located adjacent to Eagle Nest subdivision number 2, block 12, block 1, and it's addressed at 17 San Ignacio Way. If vacated, the land would become the property of the adjoining owner. The attached preliminary plat for Eagle Nest subdivision number 3 shows the extension of the road from Eagle Nest subdivision number 2. The road is owned and maintained by the Eagle Nest Property Owners Association. Eagle Nest subdivision number 2 was recorded at book 9, page 25 on December 3rd, 2003, and Eagle Nest subdivision number 3 was recorded at book 13, page 66 on August 3rd, 2020. The application was received on August 3rd, 2021. Legal notice was posted in the Star News on August 19th and August 26th. Potentially affected agencies were notified on August 10th. Neighbors within 300 feet of the property line were notified by fax sheet sent August 10th. The site was posted on August 31st, and the notice and application were posted online on the Valley County website on August 10th. Agency comments received. Central District Health has no objection to the proposal. There were no comments from any of the neighbors. Valley County Code 10-6-2 addresses vacation of plats, public rights-of-way, or easements. In summary, the Planning and Zoning Commission needs to determine if the future development of the neighborhood would be inhibited by the vacation. The Planning and Zoning Commission decision would be a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, and a deed will need to be prepared by the applicant to convey the property along the roadway right-of-way to the adjacent property owner. The Eagle Nest Property Owners Association will be the grantor. The Board of County Commissioners will be signing the declaration of vacation. And of course, we'll have to get approval and everything from Idaho Power. And prior to the board public hearing, we'll send out our certified letters. There were pictures in your staff report showing, what the area looks like, and then if you look at the screen, I've indicated what a 70-foot right-of-way looks like here. I don't know if you can see the distance between the 70 feet and where the actual property line is now. And so what will be vacated is just this portion through here, adjacent to the applicant. This accounts for a 70-foot right-of-way, kind of arcs around like that. Because when Eagle Nest 2 was platted, we needed a cul-de-sac, and then Eagle Nest 3 came in and they continued the road. So we no longer need this cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
That ends my staff report.
All right, thank you, Cinda. Is there any questions for staff?
I don't.
I have none.
Have they started construction of the new road? Is this just an old
It's
image?
An old aerial.
Okay. Alrighty, at this time, we would hear a presentation from the applicant. If you want to step up to the microphone and then just state your name and address for the record, please.
And my physical address or the address of the cabin? Does it
Either
matter?
one. Does it matter? Doesn't matter.
Okay. My name is Julie Uranga, and our cabin is on 17 San Ignacio Way in Cascade, Idaho. It's part of Eagles Nest subdivision. And everything, just as Cinda said, we are currently on a cul-de-sac. We were at the end of the road. The road has now been extended as Phase 3 has been developed as part of the subdivision. And it has been intended that the road would transition from a cul-de-sac to a through road. So we've made the request to Eagles Nest HOA for a property line adjustment and to have the vacated land deeded back to us. The HOA has provided their approval of that, and so now we're just seeking approval from Planning and Zoning to proceed.
All right,
And it.
thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant?
I don't have any.
So the HOA is,
Yep.
they've gone ahead and gone for it.
Yeah, they've approved it, and then we've talked to Idaho Power, we've talked to the fire marshal. They're all approving of it. Idaho Power's in the process of providing a quote to move the power box.
I have no questions for the applicant.
I have a question.
I don't need.
So I see the existing property line and then I see the proposed new property line. What I don't see is whether this easement, this utility easement here, will that still follow the new proposed line with a 20-foot easement, or is that just going to go away completely?
So is the easement going to go away?
Yeah. So I see the new proposed property line right here. And then this smaller line is the easement line. And it says the vacation request is to vacate the easement as well. So will that,
The
will there
easement
no
will move
longer-
as well.
It will move over or it'll be vacated?
I think it will move over. I don't
Okay.
know that for sure.
Okay.
But all of this, all of the setbacks and all of that will still apply
Right,
the same.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thanks.
All right, at this time, we would hear from any proponents who would like to speak on behalf of the application. Go ahead.
I don't really have much to say.
If you could,
Smith, I'm secretary of the HOA, and we have reviewed their plans, very well thought out, professionally prepared, and we have issued a letter of approval of transfer of this land.
okay, perfect. Do you need an address? And a name?
Judy Smith, 20 Sarah Way, Cascade.
Thank you very much. Are there any other proponents who would like to speak on behalf of this application? Seeing none, is there any undecideds who would like to speak? Also seeing none, are there any opposed who would like to speak? All right, also seeing none, I'll go to the phone really quickly. Is there anyone on the phone who would like to speak to this application? All right, hearing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it to the table for discussion. Right,
No, I don't either. I think it's pretty simple.
State straightforward.
Is the utility easement a big deal? Do we know that or not?
so I think one of the conditions of approval is that they needed approval from Idaho Power. Where did I see that?
Condition of approval I wrote down after your question, Chairman, is if requested by HOA or utilities, easements will be relocated to same dimensions on the property line.
Okay. That sound good? And like the applicant stated, the setbacks still apply. So that would be the front of property, which the setbacks for front of property are the same or more than the utility easement.
She already has her house constructed.
Yeah. Any other discussion, Scott? Alrighty, I would entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve and recommend this to the commissioners, the vacation of application 21-06, vacation of portion of San Ignacio Way, and associated utility drainage and snow storage easement.
I'll second that motion.
Alright, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. This will be heard by the Board of County Commissioners as well, so the appeal period would be with them, if anyone would like to appeal. All right, next item on the agenda is CUP 21-18, Hidden Pines Event Venue. This is a public hearing. Is there any ex parte or conflict of interest?
No.
No.
No. Cinda, can we please have a staff report?
I'm gonna go out there with. Oh, good. There's Neil.
How's that road construction?
Okay.
What are you looking at? Oh. This thing.
Go ahead. No, but go ahead.
What you stated about county commissioners,
What's up, man?
So I think if you call, go ahead, Cinda.
As soon as I can, I'll get it set for a public hearing with the Board of County Commissioners, but we also have to have time to notice that. So I would anticipate it be in the middle of October, towards the end of October. That would be finalized. Okay. Okay. Staff report for CUP 21-18 Hidden Pines Event Venue. The applicants are Eli and Kayla McClure. And I received notice today that Daniel and Kenny Crawford are no longer applicants on this. The current owners, the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The property was previously addressed at 130 Alpha Lane. It's in the southeast of the southwest of Section 27 and the northeast of the northwest of Section 34. In Township 13 North, Range 4 east of the Boise Meridian, Valley County, Idaho, and approximately 80 acres. This 40 here, and this 40 here. Most of the structures are located right in here. The applicants are requesting approval to establish an event venue. The cabins, other buildings, and property would be used for short-term rentals, vendors, and events such as weddings, camps, and retreats. The site was previously called Camp Cascade. Currently, there are 22 cabins, a dining hall, a large meeting hall, 2 shower buildings, 15 RV spots, and overnight horse and trailer accommodations. The application contains seasonal site plans and pictures of the buildings. Electricity, individual septic system, and a well exist at the site. The existing structures will be used as dry cabins. Access is from an existing gated driveway off Kennedy Road, a public road. The easement for the driveway is
We approve.
recorded as instrument number 258058. The driveway crosses property owned by Alpha Cemetery. The address of the property should be changed to reflect this. There are currently 2 off-premise signs directing people to Camp Cascade. These are located at the intersection of Alpha Lane and Kennedy Road and the driveway entrance along Kennedy Road. And historically, there was a sign at Highway 55 and Alpha Lane that they would hang up when they were in session. The application was submitted on June 30th, 2021. Legal notice was posted in the Star News on July 22nd and July 29th. Potentially affected agencies were notified on July 13th. Neighbors within 300 feet of the property line were notified by fax sheet sent July 13th. The site was posted on July 14th, and the notice and application were posted on the Valley County website on July 13th. The public hearing was postponed to September 9th at the request of the applicant, and legal notice was again posted in the Star News on August 19th and August 26th. Agency comments received. Central District Health replied that the applicant must submit accessory use authorization describing all uses, maximum occupancy, and proposed use of the kitchen. There are 2 septic systems on the site currently sized for a maximum of 100 people. Jeff McFadden, Valley County Road Department Superintendent, spoke with the applicant. Due to the added traffic on Alpha Lane, it would be nice to see the applicant apply dust abatement road stabilizer to Alpha Lane. Steve Hull, Cascade Rural Fire Protection District Fire Chief, responded on July 21st. The driveway should be upgraded to a fire apparatus road meeting requirements of Section 503 of the International Fire Code. Recommends the applicant complete a community wildfire protection plan, and the dining hall kitchen will need upgraded to meet code. Idaho Department of Environmental Quality provided general comments on air quality, wastewater, drinking water, surface water, hazardous waste, and groundwater contamination. Neighbor comments received. Brian and Judy Pierce, 107 Alpha Lane, submitted a comment for the withdrawn CUP 21-17, which was the same use and location. They request a 10 p.m. loud noise curfew. Richard and Lisa Castaneda, 10840 Kennedy Road, are opposed. The event venue would have more negative impacts compared to the previous use as a church camp. Noise, alcohol, vendors, equipment, lighting, and traffic are concerns. Road access is limited and narrow. Alpha Lane and Highway 55 intersection would be impacted. Physical characteristics of the site is mostly timbered. Topography ranges from gently to strongly sloped. Existing surrounding land use and zoning includes to the north, single-family residential and agricultural. To the south and east are timber lands, and to the west is single-family residential and agricultural. This proposal is categorized under 5 commercial uses: service business and recreation business. And we listed the different portions of the Valley County Code for your review. Staff's compatibility rating was a positive 14. And then I have some questions, comments, or recommendations. 1, are you proposing outdoor speakers or amplified music or public address systems of any kind? Will you be serving alcohol? Will there be quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m.? Will there be snowmobiling, ATVs, UTVs, etc.? Access is via an existing driveway off Kennedy Road, a public road. The physical address of the property should be changed to reflect this. How many guests will be allowed on site for an event? How many guests per cabin? Proposed conditions of approval, if you choose to approve this, are 1, the application, the staff report, and the provisions of the land use and development ordinance are all made part of this permit as if written in full herein. 2, any change in the nature of scope of land use activity shall require an additional conditional use permit. 3, the use must be established within 1 year of this permit and will be null and void. 4, the issuance of this permit and these conditions will not relieve the applicant from complying with applicable county, state, or federal laws and regulations, or be construed as permission to operate in violation of any statute or regulation. Violation of these laws, regulations, or rules may be ground for revocation of the conditional use permit or grounds for suspension of the conditional use permit. 5, all lighting must comply with the Valley County lighting ordinance. All lights shall be dark sky compliant. 6, there shall be no more than, and then it will be determined, guests on site. 7, shall obtain a sign permit prior to installation of a sign. Off-premise directional signs must be approved by Planning and Zoning, Road Department, and/or Idaho Transportation Department. Quiet hours shall be 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. 9, smoke detectors, LP gas detectors, and carbon monoxide detectors should be installed throughout the buildings. 10, shall submit a community wildfire protection plan to the fire department in collaboration with a fire professional. 11, any structural changes will require a building permit. Any new structures will need to comply with current codes. 12, must obtain proper permits for electrical and plumbing. 13, must confirm with DEQ or Central District Health that the public water system is adequate. 14, there should be fire extinguishers available. 15, all fire rings should be no larger than 3 feet in diameter. Shall have shovel, bucket, and fire extinguishers available near fire pits. 16, must comply with payment of sales tax in accordance with the Idaho State Code, Chapter 36. 17, parking shall be in designated parking spots and not in the right-of-way nor within the access easement. 18, bear-proof trash cans are recommended. And 19, shall cooperate with the Valley County Road Department in dust abatement each summer as needed. If Alpha Lane or Kennedy Lane deteriorate, the applicant shall contribute a proportionate share of their impacts in fixing the road. And that ends my staff report.
All right. Any questions for Cinda?
I don't have any.
Nope.
No,
All right. At this time, we would hear a presentation from the applicant.
Kayla McClure, and I'm currently staying at 23 Warm Lake Road. So we're really looking to use it pretty similarly than that. Sorry, I'm nervous for some reason. Like I'm in front of the class. A lot of our things are going to be similar to what Camp Cascade did. We have a background letter that I can submit to that says that they've had up to 200 people on site. We're looking to keep it around 150 tops. And really, we are going to be single-family residents. That is going to also be our single-family residence. We're calling it a guest ranch because we're going to have our family there. I'm an equine trainer and I have a background in ranch management from the Valley and barn management for up to 40 acres. So it's really not going to be maybe 10 to 15% big events like weddings and stuff like that. I have connections with a few nonprofits, so we will do retreats and camps for kids, and those will be our larger numbers at about 150. But on a regular basis, it's going to be the influx of traffic for the cabins, the dry cabin rentals in the busy season. And we're looking at about 3 people per cabin on average. So that puts, 40 to 60 people coming and going, with the exception of 150 on bigger events. Did I answer the questions here? Okay. For the outdoor speakers and amplified music, we are not installing any of that. We will allow people to bring vendors that might bring speaker systems for the larger events. We absolutely had in our policy already to have a 10 p.m. quiet time. We will not personally be serving alcohol. The same thing, we'll have outside vendors for weddings and such, but with limits on hours that the bar can serve and drinks per person. Quiet hours, yes, 10 to 8 p.m., absolutely, because we're going to be living there also. So we're going to keep it respectful. No snowmobiling, ATVs, UTVs, etc. For the public, we'll obviously need some work vehicles for mucking stalls and doing that type of stuff, plowing and stuff for ourselves, but we won't be like renting them out or anything like that. Access can definitely be changed to Kennedy Road. 150 guests for the bigger events and about 3 guests per cabin on average. That answers everybody's questions for now. Thank you.
Wait 1 second before you sit down. Any questions for the applicant?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Have you looked into or investigated anything as far as the dust abatement on the road going in?
Yes, I called the county and we don't do it locally. They gave me the number and I have a quote out for North American dust abatement out of Emmett. I'm just waiting to hear back on their quote and how often they think we should do it during the summer.
Well, I think that's an important thing to make sure you get
Okay.
that.
Yep.
And then also there was, bringing the road up to,
Fire standards.
yeah,
Yes. My husband works for Granite Excavation. And we have already started walking it's a 30-foot easement, I believe. So there's plenty of room on either side. I think the road's only about 13 and a half right now, but it looks like there's enough room to go all the way.
You haven't started anything?
We have not started it, no. We haven't even closed escrow or anything, so we're just still in the process.
Okay, I had a couple questions, and Brian's actually asked a couple of them, but one of my other questions was the mess hall. If you've got caterers,
I can't hear you.
if you have caterers coming in, are they going to bring in pre-prepared food? Or are they going to be using the mess hall to prepare their food? And if so, then according to the fire chief, you'd have to upgrade the ventilation system on the
Correct.
hood.
Yes, we will be allowing outside caterers to use the kitchen, and we have.
Okay. And one other question I had when it came to the septic system, it's already approved for 100 people. Are you anticipating improving that system so you can accommodate more people?
I have something here that says there's actually 3 septic systems on site. Central District Health said there's only 2. There's a total of 6,000 gallons worth of septic tanks. And talking to the previous owners, they've used it up to 200. So I guess we planned on using the 3rd also and pumping it more often. And getting that approval through Central District Health through that accessory that they were asking for.
Okay. Another question from the fire standpoint, as far as widening the road, those apparatuses will need a place to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed you had the ballpark marked as parking. Is there any thought given to structure trucks and wildland engines that may need to come in there as far as a place for them to safely turn around and egress if they have to?
I believe right when you come in from the road, there's the volleyball court on the right and the ball field on the left, and we were planning on utilizing most of both of those for parking.
For
I
parking?
believe that would be big enough for trailers and large vehicles.
Okay, but I guess the point I'm trying to make, those apparatuses will need a place to turn around safely within that geographical location.
Okay.
And so you need to give a little consideration to that.
Okay. Absolutely.
And I'm sure you could talk with Steve Hall, the local fire chief here at Cascade, and get his input on what would be adequate for your needs.
Is the turnaround additional to the
Well, if you could
fire
utilize
standards he was
part of the
asking for on the
ballpark or something like that designated for an emergency vehicle turnaround, whether it be fire apparatuses or ambulances, it would be helpful. Because you've only got one way into that
Right.
site, so, people have to get out in a hurry.
Yep.
And those engines have to also, then they need to have adequate space to turn around their vehicles.
Okay.
So I would recommend getting with Steve Hall and walking the
Absolutely.
ground and getting his input on that. I have no further questions.
A better picture of that. The drawing and the layout.
I have one in color if that would be
You have one in
helpful.
color? And while the applicant's getting that, if you look up here, it's a very large bare area, and I've been back there a few times, and there's quite a road system back there with turnarounds. And there is actually a way to get through here, which is the original access, and that's why it has the alpha lane. If there was an emergency fire back here, I don't believe this has been blocked at all.
It's still open.
But they gave them this easement so they weren't driving through their home site here. Yeah, you can still see the road base and everything going through here. But yeah, there's quite a road system throughout this, and this is the ball field. Basketball. There's some swing sets that could be.
I think
maybe the point that Ray was trying to make is that if you have a wedding and you've got 150 people there and the parking is all full, you need to also make sure that there's a clear path for fire trucks and ambulances to enter, even with the parking full. And turn around. But if there's a road system in there under the trees that we can't see, I mean, that would be adequate if they could come in and turn around and access the property.
You want to submit that? Yeah, want that in, please?
I guess I did have one other question to clarify something in my mind. This would be a year-round use?
Seasonal.
Just seasonal.
Yes.
What are those months?
Roughly May to October. We will have to, and we'll submit, needed applications for, we are going to turn 2 of the bigger cabins into our full-time residents. So we will be doing year-round there, and that will take doing some plumbing work. Because right now they've completely shut it down all winter, and it's only been open during
Okay.
the summer months.
So this is the site plan that was submitted. This is what's currently there.
Correct.
Are you anticipating building any new structures?
No.
No. So you said the cabins are dry cabins. None of them have septic or water or anything like that?
No, they have power.
Okay.
And then the septics are the 2 bathroom facilities and the kitchen. And then there are 2 larger cabins, I believe they're 18 and 19, that do have small kitchens and small bathrooms.
Okay.
So they run into one of the septics that's at the bathroom facility already.
Perfect. And then this meeting hall in the middle, that's where like weddings would be held.
Correct.
Would it be an outdoor wedding venue or an indoor? Or both?
It could cater to both.
Okay. I think that in the past, when we've talked about outdoor wedding facilities, we focus a lot on amplified music. Would you be willing to make a condition of approval that you only use amplified music or amplified sound inside a facility, nothing
Yes.
outside?
Yes, definitely.
And then I see a fire ring, kind of like a central one near the volleyball court. Are there any other fire rings on site?
No.
No?
And we
then-
don't plan on adding any. We like the idea of having it.
Nice treed area.
Yeah.
Want to keep it
We
that
don't
way.
trust people that much.
Yeah. And then I want to clarify, you said that the kitchen hall, or the fire department said that that was not currently up to code, but you would be making improvements before you would allow caterers to come in and,
Yes.
and use
Yes.
it? Okay.
So we're not doing anything structurally. We're just going to update some of the appliances
Okay.
and add exhaust and hoods and stuff like that.
Okay. I don't have any other questions right this moment. But I might have more later. Any others?
I don't have any.
Well, I kind of still keep going back to that number of people because Central District Health had approved that for 100 people, even though it does show there's 3 septic systems there. So I think we need to take that in consideration as far as the maximum number of people. Unless Central District Health inspects it or they do an improvement and can increase that number.
Say that again. Central District Health should do what?
Well, I think I read in there that it was already approved for 100 people.
Right.
And she wants to have 150 people. And so do they need to re-inspect that? Because she did indicate there are 3 septic systems there. And I believe they're the holding tank type. You know, the overflow goes into another tank and, you know, you pump out the lower tank and stuff. So I need some clarification in my mind when we set a number of occupancy there for this venue.
Well, we can't even set that, I don't think, until the Central District Health sees
Yeah.
that many.
Sees it and does it. And right now, it's only approved for 100 people.
Well, we can't pass that.
I would recommend, so that we can do the conditions, is maximum of 150 to fill that one spot. And then another condition that says they cannot exceed the number of people beyond Central District Health approval numbers unless porta potties are provided.
Be a fix.
But the maximum of anything is 150 for our land use purposes. And then they have to comply with Central District Health for, to accommodate the number of people up to 100.
And if she does have 3 septic systems, that pretty well take care of that.
I have another question. So this is a septic system schematic. That's what it looks like. So it looks like this is one of your drain fields on the corner of the baseball field. So that would not be allowed to be a parking area
Right.
because you can't
Yeah.
park on top of
Yeah.
septic systems. I guess it was more of a comment
Okay,
than a
thank you.
question.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Should we hear some public?
Yeah, I have no further questions for the applicant.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, we would hear from any proponents who would like to speak on behalf of the application. Seeing none, are there any undecideds who would like to speak? Also seeing none, are there any opponents who would like to speak? Go ahead. If you could state your name and address for the record, and there'll be a 3-minute time limit for testimony.
I've been told.
Thank you.
I'll make it quick. My name is Melanie McDonald. I live at 91 Alpha Lane. I have the property that is on the northeast side. You would turn left onto Kennedy to get to the Cascade Camp. I am the only full-time resident on that road, and 150 people is going to be a real problem. The road's small. There are so many people going now. So I am hoping for the dust abatement for road maintenance. I would like to see that number cut down because if you have a wedding of, say, 150, you've got the vendors. So you were talking about the septic. Is that going to include all the vendors that are coming in as well, or no, not quite? And I'd like to make sure that it's not open in the winter because Alpha Road, as you all know, is kind of treacherous in the winter. It's either icy or it's got 7-foot drifts half an hour after they plow. If somebody gets stuck out there that doesn't know the road, I can't get to work because they won't plow. I would like to have these fine people know that it's a country road. I moved there so it would not be LA. And with all these people going up and down the road and up and down the road, I've already lost one animal. People do not do the speed limit. They are not cautious. They are not courteous. The Cascade Camp were very nice people. And in the 16 years I've been there, they've probably had maybe 6 events, maybe 40 people. And I called the pastor and I said, you've got to slow these people down. I've been hit by rocks. It's not a good thing. So if we can keep the noise level down, which would be lovely, the trash level down, the speed limit down, and the amount of people coming and going, and that includes vendors and party people and whoever else. I might not be so apprehensive about this, but because it is such a thoroughfare now without the venues, it's going to make it not the paradise I was hoping to keep it. And like I said, I am the only full-time person on that road, so I get it all the vehicles, all the dust, all the rocks, so I would like to see if there is dust abatement that it's done twice a year with a time limit on those 2 times. And everything else that I had in mind has has already been covered here, so I don't need to go over it. But thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents who would like to speak? All right, seeing none here, is there anyone on the phone who would like to speak to this application? Hearing none, we would give the applicant a chance at rebuttal. Did you have anything else you wanted to say? I actually have a few more questions, so if you would come back up. One of the things that I forgot that we typically do for outdoor wedding venues in particular is we limit the amount of large events that can happen in a year so that you're not having, 3 or 4 weddings a week. If there were to be a limit placed on that, what would you deem appropriate? So you're looking at operating seasons of May through October. I think that we have written that down as a condition of approval. What do you think would be an appropriate number of
Large
events?
events, weddings
Yes.
specifically.
Large events, so I'm gonna say like over 50 people, because you said your cabins hold about 45 people if they were all
45 to
full.
60.
45 to 60, so events of over 60 people on
Okay.
site.
Okay. Off the top of my head, would 10 a season?
Right, and I don't want to put you on the spot. Let's just count, let's look at how many weekends are in between there. One, two, three. Yeah, so there's about 20, so that would be 2 weddings a month. That seem appropriate?
Weddings or,
Weddings or large events?
so weddings typically last 1 day
Yep.
to 2 days with cleanup and takedown.
Yep.
Whereas like a nonprofit church camp, if we have kids in for 3 days, does that, make a difference?
I think that would be one event.
One event
In my
still
mind.
Per, okay, so 10 per season, yeah.
10 per
2 a
season.
month.
I think that would help some of the neighborhood concerns about, it
Absolutely.
being packed full all the time. And if that were to change in the future and you wanted to come back and get an amendment to a conditional use permit, that's always a possibility as well.
Also, I'd like to say, as a rebuttal, I guess, my husband does work for Granite Construction, and they do a lot of the plow routes. And we could easily get on the plow route on Alpha Lane if it isn't already, because he will be physically doing it, as well as any road maintenance. And we're definitely, up for helping out and keeping the road safe, because we don't want, we want to come in and be harmonious with our neighbors. And yeah, we don't have intentions of it being busy all the time. We have a season and a window to make it kind of make sense for the rest of the year. And yeah,
Perfect. I have one more question. Trash was brought up. What do you intend to do on site for trash? Will you have dumpsters?
big
trash
metal
service?
dumpsters with lockable lids, yes.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions for the applicant?
We don't have this time.
I have none.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. At this time, we would go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it to the table for discussion.
Is Alpha Road the one we're talking about upgrading?
No.
What are we talking about upgrading?
Just the driveway?
The area between Alpha, this, I believe, needs to be widened here, and then along the easement. So they'll have to, work with the road superintendent here, make sure it meets fire code, and then work with the fire chief and make sure this area here
Back into
Fire
the
code.
camp.
What?
Back into the camp. Okay.
That's what. 1,200 feet.
Quarter mile.
Make it, so you can see, Highway 55 is here. There used to be that historical sign right here.
Mm-hmm.
Here, the 80 acres.
You're talking dust abatement.
We're talking dust abatement, clear out to Highway 55.
A little alpha.
That's,
Mile. Says it dust abatement all the way.
yeah, they'll have to go all the way from Highway 55 to their site.
So, mile and third, dust abatement. Or a little more.
Right, and that condition that we wrote here, shall cooperate with Valley County Road Department in dust abatement each summer, a minimum of 2 times as needed, or more if needed. If Alpha Lane or Kennedy Road deteriorate, the applicant should contribute a proportionate share of their impacts in fixing the road.
So maybe we could say once operations commence, right? Because if they move into this place, but they're gonna have to spend a couple years upgrading the kitchen system and all of that, I don't know that they should be putting dust abatement down while they're not having guests at the ranch.
That's good.
I just need to plan on making this operational.
What did you say?
As soon as they're gonna make this operational,
I would assume next year.
next summer.
They're almost out of time now. I mean, there's 2 weeks until the end of their season.
Right.
There's a 10-day appeal period. I'd give them a couple days. And they haven't actually purchased it yet. They're the option holders. I would assume they would start next May, or whenever they were completed. Did you close the public hearing?
I did. But do we need to reopen it?
I was going to mention the conditions of approval that I picked up through your conversation.
Yep.
I was going to fill in that condition of approval, number 6, with 150 guests, along with the additional condition of approval that said cannot exceed 150 people beyond, cannot exceed the number of people beyond what's approved by Central District Health numbers unless porta potties are provided. And then that's up to the maximum of 150. And then we'll need site grading, stormwater plan prior to any site grading being done.
Okay.
Operating season is May to October.
That May 2 October or May through October?
Is it May to October or through? May to October. That's what we counted our weekend then also.
Okay.
Amplified music can only be located in facilities. Amplified music, loudspeakers.
Yeah. Or amplified sound, right? Because you don't want a speaker. Yeah.
PA system.
There are annoying things that aren't music.
Okay. Event guests should be provided with rules concerning noise, speed limits, etc.
Yep.
In their contract. Dust abatement, a minimum of twice per year. I already covered that one. And then there shall be no more than 2 weddings or large events of more than 60 people for more than 10 per season or 2 per month.
I think that it should just be 10 per season.
10 per season?
Yeah. Because then if they want to cluster them, say you have like 2 camps and a wedding in July, that's a popular, and then you only have 1 event in May or something like that.
So 10 per season.
Yeah.
That's what I picked up. That was it.
Thank you, Cinda. I think those were the ones I was concerned about. I think that we, obviously the condition, is there a condition of approval that the fire will be, the road will be upgraded to fire standards? I know that it was mentioned in the letter, but I don't think it was a,
They have to comply with all county, state, federal laws. Shall submit the wildfire protection plan to the fire department. Fire extinguishers are available. I'll do another one, let's see.
Speaking of fire extinguishers, that brings up another comment. I remember reading in there about, in Steve's letter, about carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors, and propane detectors.
So I'll say must comply with requirements of Cascade Rural Fire.
before use can begin.
Addresses those concerns, the exhaust system, the roads,
Yep,
turnarounds.
all three of those. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
I have nothing else.
I think some of that fire protection stuff has to do with the number of people that's in the facility. There's a certain number, 75 or something. To go over that, you have to have this.
So another thought, could they put in their rules for guests? Something like that, about speed limit. That's a big deal.
I put speed limits, yeah, concerning noise, speed limits. Hours of operation. What about alcohol consumption or anything like that? Or do you want to just leave that up to?
I think,
Leave that up to about as they want.
yeah. All right. I feel like there's tension in the air still, like you're not done talking about it, so that's why
Well-
I'm not moving forward.
I had this thing about dust abatement, it sounds to me the way it's going to be written, that we're going to require it twice a year
At a minimum.
at a minimum. Well, what if it doesn't need it twice a year?
Or as needed.
Or as needed is how I'd like to see that worded.
So if it needs to 5 times.
Yeah.
Once.
This
Says,
Do it once.
shall cooperate with Valley County Road Department in dust abatement summer, a minimum of 2 times or as needed.
What if we just got rid of the a minimum of 2 times and put as needed?
Yeah, that's subjective.
That is subjective.
It is very subjective. I mean,
Most roads need it twice a year in Valley County.
I want to do it in spring and then beginning of August.
Yeah.
Let me get some chewed up nuts.
So do you want to leave it or as needed, or do you want me to say 2 times?
What do you think, Scott? Was it you that asked the question?
No, I did.
Right. What do you think?
Well, I know some roads probably do need it twice. We had ours, private county road done, and it needs to have it again. But it depends upon the solution that they put down. This is the dry mix they put down. Well, they didn't water it.
No, water the solution. It did not.
Yeah. Well, it's probably the worst dust abatement I've seen on our lane since I've lived there for 30 years to be. And I'm the one that gets all the dust in our particular neighborhood. So,
It's also a hot, dry year.
and I think that attributes to some of it, plus the application, that they used. Personally, I'd like to see a wet surface and then you put it on.
Let's say a minimum of 2 times or as needed. And then, I mean, it starts off saying they're gonna work with Valley County Road Department.
Yeah.
You
Well-
know,
I guess the reason that's kind of a little sticking point for me on that is that stuff's not cheap. And I'm trying to lessen the burden on these people. If it doesn't need it, then why do it again at an additional cost? But if it does need it, then it's a cost they're gonna have to support.
Well, but it all depends on the year. Had it rained all June, we wouldn't have needed it till July. So I think, I agree with the way that Cinda has it worded because it starts in the beginning, you're gonna work with the Valley County Road
Road
Department.
It gives them something they can budget. It's really something they can budget.
Well, would this be kind of a cost share then with the county road department?
most likely not.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I thought, most likely not.
No. But, the cost share portion is that if this road deteriorates, they're gonna contribute their proportionate share in fixing the road. I mean, they've stated, he has access to what's required.
How about this? So it says shall cooperate with the Valley County Road Department in dust abatement each summer on average twice per year as needed. Not set it as a minimum
Or as needed.
or as needed.
Needed.
Okay. Once operations commence.
Yes. Let's see if we can make this one longer. You want to add any more points to it? Yeah.
Well, that was the only thing kind of sticking in my mind that I really needed some clarification on, and for them also.
Well, I'm having a good speed limit that people will follow.
Well, I think that's a point well made. We've got speed limit signs on our little lane, and most people do adhere to it, but the ones that come up to visit their friends typically don't. So that does create an issue. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's all I had to say.
All right, any other discussion?
I don't have any.
Good.
All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve CUP 2021-18 stated.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. There is a 10-day appeal period with the Board of County Commissioners if anyone is unhappy with our decision. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is CUP 21-22, Binion Short-Term Rental. This is a public hearing. Is there any ex parte or conflict of interest?
No.
No.
Cinda, can we please have a staff report?
Okay, the staff report for CUP 21-22, Binion short-term rental. The applicant's Diana Lee Binion. The .46 acre site is addressed at 1907 Lone Tree Road, Units A and B. In the North Lake Subdivision Number 1, Lot 14, southwest quarter of Section 8, Township 15, North Range 3 East of the Boise Meridian, Valley County, Idaho. Diana Lee Binion is requesting approval to use the 3-bedroom, 2,200 square foot primary residence as a short-term rental. She would like to have a total of 6 bedrooms. Central District Health states she has applied for a 4th bedroom for a maximum of 8 guests in the short-term rental. So the 1-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor was approved by CUP 19-23, and it would continue to be used as a long-term rental. The main floor, she would have a 4-bedroom short-term rental. On the 2nd floor, she'll have a 1-bedroom long-term rental. The residences are served by an individual well and septic tank. 2 parking spots are proposed on-site and 2 are proposed off-site. There's an active account with Lakeshore Disposal for garbage pickup. Application was made to planning and zoning on July 21st. Legal notice was posted in the Star News on August 19th and August 26th. Potentially affected agencies were noticed on August 10th Neighbors within 300 feet of the property line were notified by fact sheet sent August 10th. The site was posted on August 31st, and the notice and application were posted online on August 10th. Agency comments received. Central District Health stated the applicant is currently approved for a one-bedroom apartment and a three-bedroom home. He has an application on file of July 2021 to add one bedroom to the home. When permitted and installed, she would be approved for a one-bedroom full-time apartment and a four-bedroom vacation rental suitable for a maximum of 8 short-term rental guests. Amy Newcomb, Donnelly Fire Department, listed requirements for smoke detectors, driveways, landscaping, and burning. Neighbor comments received: none. Physical characteristics of the site: it's flat with an existing two-story residence. She's surrounded by North Lake Subdivision Number 1 single-family residential lots, and then to the west is an unplatted portion of Tamarack Resort PUD. The proposal is categorized under 5 commercial uses: C, service business; 3, motel, hotel, apartments, resort, bed and breakfast, or lodge. I listed various areas out of the Valley County Code for your review, including parking requirements. Staff's compatibility rating is a positive 12. The Planning and Zoning Commission should do their own compatibility rating prior to the meeting. Staff questions, comments, or recommendations. Residential use setbacks requiring conditional use permit are 30 feet from the front, rear, and side street property lines and 15 feet from all side property lines. However, this was a conversion of an existing building. There are 2 parking sites according to the site plan and the application. If there's 1 parking spot for the apartment, that leaves 1 parking spot for the short-term rental, where does overflow parking occur. The short-term rental will be managed by Frost Property Management. Proposed conditions of approval are as follows. The application, the staff report, and the provisions of the Land Use and Development Ordinance are all made a part of this permit as if written in full herein. 2, any change in the nature or scope of land use activities will require an additional conditional use permit. 3, the use must be established within 1 year. This permit will be null and void. 4, conditions of this permit. These conditions will not relieve the applicant from complying with applicable county, state, or federal laws or regulations will be considered as permission to operate in violation of any statute or regulation. Violation of these laws, regulations, or rules may be grounds for revocation of the conditional use permit or grounds for suspension of the conditional use permit. 5, all lighting must comply with the Valley County Lighting Ordinance. 6, quiet hours shall be 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. 7, smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors shall be installed throughout the home. 8, there should be fire extinguishers on each level of the home and 1 near any outside LPG grill. 9, all fire rings should be no larger than 3 feet in diameter. Shall have shovel, bucket, and fire extinguisher available near a fire pit. 10, must comply with payment of sales tax in accordance with Idaho State Code, Chapter 36. 11, parking shall be in designated parking spots and not in the public right-of-way. 12, shall post rules and emergency contact information. 13, there is a maximum occupancy of 8 guests in the short-term rental. The maximum occupancy must be reflected in all advertisements. And CUP 19-23 is still in effect as it pertains to the apartment, lighting, etc. And since the staff report was completed, we received additional conditional correspondence. Exhibit 1 is from Suzanne Jack, and she's from District Health. And she said they're waiting on the detailed plot plan that needs to be provided by the applicant and/or installer. Tom White has issued the verbiage form, which is the sheet that tells what type in the body of the permit for the addition of the 1 bedroom downstairs for a total of 4 bedrooms downstairs, 1 bedroom apartment upstairs. They cannot issue the permit without the detailed plot plan approved by Tom. The verbiage form is not the septic permit. So she is actively working to get that approval from Central District Health. It just isn't final at this time. And that ends my staff report.
All right, thank you, Cinda. Are there any questions for staff?
No.
No.
All right, at this time, we would hear a presentation from the applicant.
Hi, this is Lee Binion. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking your time over and over again to do all of this. It's a rapidly expanding county. So what We had actually applied for a short-term permit for the bottom dwelling back in January, and nothing ever happened with that. So I guess I kind of just assumed that everything was copacetic. Cross Property Management, who was managing my properties in May when the law came into effect for Valley County with the short-term rentals, was going through and making sure that everyone had the appropriate guidelines and everything that they needed. And that's when we found out that when we had built that upstairs unit, we had asked for them to make it 6 bedrooms and they only made it 4. So I have actually put in another 650-gallon tank, and that's what Cinda was referring to in terms of us getting the all of the I's dotted and T's crossed from Tom White and T&G Excavation. And currently there is 1,650 square feet or gallons or however you say it, that should do 6 bedrooms and 2 kitchens, which is 1 more than what we have. So we're proposing the upstairs continue to be the 1-bedroom long-term rental and the downstairs be a short-term rental. It is really truly only 4 bedrooms, but according to Subsurface Health, you count the bedroom. But one of my bedrooms has bunk beds, so I want to make sure that we realize that we are actually doing it for 10 people downstairs. So I've added the extra septic on. Now, I couldn't catch Cinda's in her conditions, the first 2 that she said. The third was done within 1 year. Well, it's done right now. Then the next one was I'm going to follow the federal law. Next is the lights. We have, motion detector in front of the garage for garage people coming in and to the side of the house, and that's it. Let's see. Can't read my own writing. We have fire extinguishers everywhere. There is a fire ring there right now. I'm going to take that away because we're building a deck, and I would rather have the fire ring gone. But if we do have one, we will make sure that there are fire extinguishers and water and all of that. We will comply with the taxes. Parking was a big issue for Cinda. She said that there's only 2 parking spaces. Well, there's 2 in the garage and there's 2 outside the garage. And then coming to the right of the garage, which is within the interior of our lot, you can have a 5th car. So assuming that you've got 10 people, I'm thinking that's 2 families, so that's 2 cars that are going to be there. And then the 3rd car upstairs, and there would be 2 cars extra to avoid that. Cross Property Management definitely follows the rules of, 10 p.m. They have emergency contact. And then, like I said, I couldn't hear the first 2 conditions that she said, but I think that answers all the other questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The first 2 conditions are fairly standard conditions. Cindy, do you want to read those again? Got them right there.
Yes. I want to. 1, the application, the staff report, and the revisions of the land use and development ordinance are all made a part of this permit as if written in full herein. And then 2, any change in the nature or scope of land use activities shall require an additional conditional use permit.
All right.
Okay, so I think we've met both of those.
Okay. I want to clarify.
Thank you, Ms. Herrick.
You're welcome.
How many bedrooms are in the house, not including the long-term rental apartment?
In the downstairs unit, there are 4 bedrooms.
Okay. And you're including the upstairs unit not because you're going to rent it out, but because it's on the same septic system.
Well, the upstairs unit, which is 1 bedroom and 1 kitchen, is going to be, it has been a long-term rental. And then the downstairs, the application is for the short-term rental downstairs. So the whole issue kind of revolves around the septic system and how much the septic system could hold. And it's my understanding now with the 1650 that I have, that would cover 6 bedrooms, which is 1 extra bedroom that I need.
Got it. Okay. And you're wanting to make this a short-term rental for 10 guests, or does that 10 include the long-term rental upstairs?
No, the 10 would be the short-term rental downstairs, because even though there's 4 bedrooms, one of the bedrooms has 2 bunk beds. But when Central District Health looks at the septic needs, they only count bedrooms, not how many beds can be accommodated in a bedroom. So it's still 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
The Central District Health letter states, it's approved for the addition of 1 bedroom downstairs for a total of 4, for the addition of 1 bedroom, and then downstairs for a total of 4 beds downstairs.
And didn't it say 8
Correct,
people?
so 4 down and 1 up.
Application did, and
Correct,
my
so
staff
5
report.
bedrooms.
Did the letter from Central District Health say 8 people?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It says, Tom White has issued the verbiage form for the addition of 1 bedroom downstairs for a total of 4 beds downstairs. They allow 2 people per bedroom, regardless of how many beds you can put in there.
Now, I have talked to Central District Health time after time after time, and they have assured me that is not the case, because I said I want to do this right. And they said, no, if they count the bedrooms, not the number of people in the bedroom. And Suzanne has told me that, Michelle has told me that, and Tom White has told me that. I have added an extra 1,600 or 650 because that's what they told me I needed.
Okay. So I see the bottom of this letter from Central District Health does specifically state that it's suitable for a maximum of 8 short-term rental guests. I wonder if there's maybe a point of clarification that needs to happen between there, but we could always say
Okay,
set
are
that.
you looking at the old one that we did last year when we built the old rental? Because the new one, that's what the old one did. The old one went from 3 to 4.
Right. No, this is for the conditional use permit this year. It was included in the staff report, second to last page. But like I said, that could be something that could be clarified from Central District Health, and we could just put a condition of approval that you're only allowed to rent to 8 guests until that condition has been met.
Okay.
If we were to indeed approve this, don't want to get ahead of myself. I also will say, I do remember your conditional use permit for the dual residence a couple years ago, and I appreciate that you have kept that apartment as a long-term rental to help with our housing crisis in this county. So. Does anybody else have questions for the applicant?
Was that 4th bathroom, it's already been built, it's completed. So that's done. Now we're just trying to figure out what Central District Health to do.
Oh, on their stuff, they said 8, but we'll change that condition that says there's a maximum occupancy for 8 guests in the short-term rental unless more guests are approved by Central District Health, up to a maximum of 12.
Include the one upstairs.
No, the short-term rental.
So I guess I'm wondering, why does this short-term rental require a conditional use permit when it falls within the parameters of our
Because-
law?
The CUP that was previously issued said it can't be used. as-
and that's-
And your short-term rental ordinance says that if you have 2 residences on one, like if you have a primary with an accessory dwelling unit, one of them can't be a short-term rental unless they get the conditional use permit.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Are there any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have one on the parking.
Make sure you speak up loud so she can hear you on the phone.
So on the parking, stated that there was parking for 5 vehicles in the driveway, including 2 in the garage. If you have 2 in the garage and then the 3 outside, will any of those 3 that are outside block?
We have always held one little spot that is for the long-term renter. And then the other ones, I mean, if they're all together renting the place, clearly they're gonna be able to keep all their cars.
Does that answer your question? Where is the space that's held for the long-term rental? Is that in the garage or outside of the garage?
I'm sorry, could you say again?
Yeah, the space that is held for the long-term renter, is that inside the garage or outside of the garage?
Outside the garage.
Outside. So they wouldn't hopefully get
The
blocked.
spot that kind of goes, to the right of the garage over into the interior of the yard. There is space to the left of the driveway. I think the easement's at 24 feet. And then if you look at like the 3 feet that's the corner of the.
Uh-oh, are you still there? Did we lose you on the phone? Miss Binion, are you still there? I think we lost her. Neil, did you have a question?
No, I was fixing to speak up about the parking, but Scott answered that, so.
Well, Cinda, how does this work if we don't have the applicant here anymore?
Well, if you feel like you can make a decision without.
Do we want to go through and see if we can take some public testimony?
If you get public testimony that you feel like she should rebut, then you would have to
Call her back?
extend this.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak as a proponent to this application? Seeing none, any undecideds? Also seeing none, any opposed? All right. Is there anyone else on the phone who would like to speak to this application?
This is Lee again. I'm sorry, I kind of missed the question about, do I need to rebut? What was that?
Oh, sorry. You must have lost connection for a little while. You were in the middle of answering a question about parking when you dropped off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm driving. I'm trying to get to the airport to get back to Idaho. So the renter, the long-term renter parked at the bottom of the driveway. There is plenty of room for them to park there, but I realize that actually doesn't, follow the rule. So what they can do is they can park on the right side of the driveway, which is actually beneficial for them because it puts them right next to the walkway and the front entrance where they go up. So they're within all of the guidelines, and then there's 2 in the garage and 2 outside the garage. But the implication is that if they're renting the bottom unit, then they're going to be able to flip-flop their cars without difficulty because they're all together.
Okay. Does that clear it up? Okay. All right, so we already asked if there was any proponents, undecided, or opposed. Was there anyone else on the phone who would like to testify? All right, hearing none, shall we close the public hearing? And we will do that and bring it to the table for discussion. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have to.
So, is she applying for 10 guests? Central
She
District
applied
Health
for
said she-
8.
Okay.
Central District Health said 8. But I'm going to change that condition that says maximum occupancy of 8 guests in the short-term rental unless more are approved by Central District Health up to a maximum of 12. That's our maximum on the short-term rental.
Would it be 10 downstairs and 2 upstairs is where we,
No, the long-term rental is a different CUP.
Yeah, okay,
We're just doing the short-term rental at
okay,
this time.
yeah, that's clear now. The only other question I had or concern was the parking, and I think that's been addressed.
So I guess something we didn't talk about is the letter from the fire department. Was this short-term rental in compliance? It just says that these things will be needed. It didn't talk about whether or not they were in compliance. We, because, the application stated she wanted to have 10 guests. Is that what the application originally stated, Cinda?
It said 8.
Said 8? So they would have,
This evening, she's saying 10.
so they would have answered this letter thinking that there's 8 guests on site, and we don't know if the 10 guest upgrades the fire requirements for Donley Rural Fire.
The Donley Fire addresses the smoke detectors, LPG systems. We should put in just the comply with the Donley Rural Fire.
Yeah. I think that's important because we are pretty strict about that on other short-term rentals. Granted, most of them that we hear are for 12 or more people, and so the rules are more stringent. This one is a little bit different since it's a lesser number.
And this, it says.
Oh, yeah.
Detectors should be installed. It doesn't say it shall be installed.
It says will be.
Which page are you on?
So
On your conditions of approval.
Oh, it shall. Well, that was part of the whole short-term rental ordinance is that we want those detectors because of what happened on Don Drive. We want the smoke detectors, like carbon dioxide detectors and things for the guest safety.
Or whether they're inspected, are they inspected, new batteries, being used often?
They should.
Prove that they were, is that something we should have in our?
We are not going out to inspect those.
No, but I mean, should there, it's a commercial venture. I mean, they, motels, hotels, crushers, all that stuff has to have, fire extinguishers have to be inspected yearly, to make sure it's ordered. And there's a tag that has to be signed by someone that's certified. So that's something that we should be mentioning in our CUPs that it should be done, or shall be done.
We put our name on it.
the problem is we don't have the ability to enforce or monitor it.
I mean, I'm not sure how we're going to ensure that they've brought a professional up from Boise to inspect their fire extinguisher. And are we going to do that with all 700 short-term rentals in Valley County?
If you guys want to take a shift, like 1 week on,
Good luck with that there.
you know, we get
Don.
paid so much to do this
It
volunteer
seems
job.
like, maybe the fire department would have an interest in.
No, they said they do
Somebody-
not have the personnel.
And what good does it tell them they have to have that?
I know I'm out of order here, but Frog Property Management checks all of my CO2 and smoke detectors regularly.
Thank you. So I think that it's a valid point.
I think it's something we should.
Well, it is,
maybe
and it-
not attached to this one, but we should think about that. Somehow.
So I think that we allow private industry to monitor that in other commercial ventures. So say if we permit a gravel pit, we don't say you need to have OSHA inspections on a biannual basis. That's just part of the
They
industry.
do.
Yeah. Right. So maybe this is a hole in this health and safety industry that hasn't been filled yet. But I don't know that the county planning and zoning has the ability to require that without being able to enforce it. That's just my
I think it's
opinion.
something that needs to be figured out.
Yeah.
The insurance company will. there's a fire.
Well, yeah. The state legislators have stated short-term rentals are single-family residential homes. And they should be treated as such unless we adopt rules and regulations to protect the integrity of the neighborhood. So while we have this ordinance with some guiding requirements, it's still a single-family residence.
Even though they're commercially renting it out.
That's true. But the state legislators have stated that this is a single-family residence. Short-term rental is a single-family residence and they are permitted. We do have the right to regulate certain conditions or rules to protect the integrity of the neighborhood. I believe it's Idaho Code 6765. 38 or 35, somewhere around. I can find it if you'd like me to read it. I can do that.
Read that into the record first. Yeah, I'm not gonna leave myself out there hanging in the wind.
Ray, you were about to say something. I cut you off.
Well, that's fine. Well, I'm still running some of this through my gray matter on what Scott's been discussing on who would really enforce this or who would have the oversight. Number one, if it's a private individual, which this is, and I'm sure she's managing her own site, then it would be her responsibility to make sure it had smoke detectors and the fire extinguishers are inspected a year. If it was under a property management group, I would think that might fall to them.
And she stated that in the comment, that her management company inspects that stuff.
Well, I was looking through here to see what that management company was, and I didn't see anything written in here as far as a management company.
I was wrong. It's 676539. So neither a county nor a city may enact or enforce any ordinance that has the express or practical effect of prohibiting short-term rentals or vacation rentals in the county or city. County or city may implement such reasonable regulations as it deems necessary to safeguard the public health, safety, and general welfare in order to protect the integrity of the residential neighborhoods in which short-term rentals or vacation rentals operate. A short-term rental or vacation rental shall be classified as a residential land use for zoning purposes, subject to all zoning requirements applicable thereto. So we have to, it continues to be a residential use and not a commercial use.
But we're not trying to prohibit.
No, we're just guiding it.
We're just trying to protect public health.
The integrity of the neighborhood. Integrity of the residential neighborhood.
Necessary to safeguard public health, safety, and general welfare. And it's like two separate things. I just think it's worth thinking about as we're updating our ordinances, not necessarily on this one.
But it's something that we could bring up again.
Would it be a commercial use?
What's that?
It be considered a commercial
It
use?
is a commercial. They're making money on it. Polyester. I don't know. I agree with Scott. And yeah, it goes back to, it's a single residence. Their homeowners insurance is gonna take care of that if there's a fire. It's a whole different liability. I don't know how the insurance looks at that. The liability, okay, you've rented this out. That's a can of worms. I wonder if this covers that kind of stuff.
Hopefully.
That's how my fire code changes all the time because of insurance. Okay.
So gentlemen, I agree that this is a really useful discussion, but I think that we should maybe wrap up this conditional use permit and chat about it after our public hearing issues have cleared the agenda. Is there any further discussion about this particular CUP?
I don't have any.
I have none.
Right, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve conditional use permit application number 21-22, bid and short-term rental with so stated conditions of approval.
I'll second that.
With the change in number 13, maximum occupancy of 8 guests in a short-term rental unless more approved by Central District Health up to a maximum of 12, and it must comply with Dollar Row Fire Protection Association.
You need to see
Agree.
that updated.
Absolutely, before I sign off on it, yes. Yes, I worked very closely with Central District Health.
All right, any further discussion after hearing that condition of approval? All right,
No.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. There is a 10-day appeal period with the Board of County Commissioners if anyone is unhappy with our decision. All right,
Who seconded that?
Thank you all.
thank you, have a good night. Brian did. Alrighty, next item on the agenda, CUP 21-23, Coughlin Multiple Residence. This is a public hearing. Is there any ex parte or conflict of interest?
No.
No.
Cinda, can we please have a staff report?
Okay, the staff report for conditional use permit application 21-23, Coughlin Multiple Residence. The applicant is Shirley Coughlin. The property is 4.63 acres, addressed at 10 Sarah Way in Eagle Nest Subdivision, Lot 3, Block 2, in the northeast of the Northwest Section 20, Township 14, North Range 4, east of the Boise Meridian, Valley County, Idaho. Shirley Coughlin is requesting a conditional use permit for 2 residences on 1 parcel. There is a 1,500 square foot apartment above a shop and an approximate 4,500 square foot home. Both residences have been built. The apartment does not qualify for an accessory dwelling unit as it has more than 1,000 square feet of living space. If a conditional use permit is not approved, the kitchen will need to be removed from the apartment. The building permit was issued conditioned on removal of the kitchen or a conditional use permit being approved. The home shares a driveway, an individual well, and a septic system. Sarah Way is a privately maintained road. The application was received on August 3rd, 2021. Legal notice was posted in the Star News on August 19th and August 26th. Potentially affected agencies were notified on August 10th. Neighbors within 300 feet of the property line were notified by fax sheet sent August 10th. The site was posted on August 31st. The notice and application were posted on the Valley County website on August 10th. Agency comments received. Central District Health stated that the septic system is currently approved for a 4-bedroom home and a 2-bedroom home. Permit was approved August 23rd of 2007. Neighbor comments received. Brad and Jill Springer, 7 Sarah Way, support the request. Physical characteristics of the site and land uses, it's surrounded by Eagle Nest subdivision, single-family residential. This proposal is categorized under 2 residential uses, J, multiple residences on 1 parcel. Staff's compatibility rating was a positive 31. I had no additional questions or comments. Conditions of approval. The application, the staff report, and the provisions of the land use and development ordinance are all made a part of this permit as if written in full herein. 2, any change in the nature or scope of land use activity shall require an additional conditional use permit. 3, the use shall be established within 1 year or a permit extension will be required. 4, conditions of this permit, these conditions will not relieve the applicant from complying with applicable county, state, or federal laws or regulation, or be construed as permission to operate in violation of these statute or regulations. Violation of these laws, regulations, or rules may be grounds for revocation of the conditional use permit or grounds for suspension of the conditional use permit. 5, all lights shall be fully shielded so that there is no upward or horizontal projection of lights. Shall clearly post the addresses at the driveway entrance and on both residences. 2 addresses can be issued if requested. And 7, renting any building for less than 30 days will require a separate conditional use permit. So neither one of these could be used as a short-term rental. Since the staff report was completed, we've received 2 other pieces of correspondence. Exhibit 1 is based on a telephone call I received today from a gentleman named John Austin. And he said it's not appropriate use for 2 residences on 1 parcel in Eagle Nest. He thinks they should enforce their Ccnrs and he does not know if they have adequate sewer. And then the applicant handed me a letter this evening from Paul Christy Silva, And they're writing this letter in support of the CUP of Shirley Southland. They own the lot adjacent to her at 9 Augusta Way. And they have no issue with the current buildings on the property that are considered two separate residences. We hope the commission will allow the permit requested. That ends my staff report.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions for staff?
I don't.
I have none.
All right, at this time, we would hear a presentation from the applicant.
Good evening. I'm Shirley Coughlin. Can you hear me? Sometimes I'm a teacher, retired teacher. I either yell or whisper. There's no in between. Okay. There's 3 things I need to let you know about. One is we're in compliance with the Ccnrs of the Eagle Nest Homeowners Association. When we built the second house, the main house, we did not realize that we needed this for the apartment. The apartment is 1,080 square feet. It is above the garage. The room that we had that was part of the apartment, we've converted into storage. And so technically the apartment is 1,080 square feet. And then we have been there for a long time. We planned to build sooner, but like everything else in this world, it took us 10 years to build the main house. You've heard this story before, I know. But in that time, we did not realize that we needed to apply for this. And there are others in the Eagle Nest that have the same permission, I don't know what you call it, to get the second dwelling. And it is for my family, our family, friends. Since we've moved up to wonderful Cascade, you'd be surprised how many friends you have that want to come see you and want to, So, I mean, we have different people at different times, but it's not, it's not overwhelming that we have that many people. I think there's been more people coming to look at the lots than we will ever have for our house. Our family comes like 3 times a year. Our son from Nevada and his kids, and that's the main ones. They get top reservation. But everything is just for family and friends. So what else do I need to say? Because it's been done before, we're just following up and getting all the T's crossed and the I's dotted.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any questions for the applicant?
I don't have any.
I have none.
Thank you. All right, is there any proponents who would like to speak on behalf of the application? Go ahead, ma'am.
Once again, my name is Judy Smith. My residence is 20 Sarah Way, and I'm the secretary of the HOA for Eagle Nest, and I have lived there for 10 years. I can read into the record, if you would like, from our CCNRs, which permit this type of residence arrangement, if you would like.
You can if you would like, but I will note that as a Planning and Zoning Commission, we are not able to enforce CCNRs. We enforce Valley
Okay.
County Code.
I would like to take exception with Mr. Austin's letter because he is in error. The
Okay.
CCNRs are very well enforced and very well stated to allow main residence and a guest quarters or caretaker quarters. It's not a rental quarters. So that's what I want to be sure is understood.
Go ahead.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So are there size limitations? Because I've talked to some people out there, if they could have built this at 1,000 square feet, then they would be able to get an accessory dwelling unit. So do you have a minimum size requirement?
Yes. For the residence,
Yes.
1,200 square feet. For primary residence for 1,200 square feet on one level and 1,600 square feet on 2 levels.
So if they build the apartment first, like the Coughlins did, they had to have a minimum of 1,200 square feet, which caused them to get the CUP later. Does that make sense?
It just says a residence.
Yeah.
A residence shall contain no less than 1,200 square feet. Now, but you had 1,200, but then you converted some of it to storage. So it was not It was not part of the residence later.
Yeah, so the issue came in because she built the apartment first instead of the primary. Otherwise, she could have just made that 1,000.
Got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
did I clarify anything? I hope.
You did, yes.
All right.
All right, are there any other proponents who would like to speak on behalf of this application? Any undecideds who would like to speak? Any opponents who would like to speak? All right, seeing none, is there anyone on the phone who would like to testify to this application? Hearing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it to the table for discussion.
I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's well thought out. I think that they did something that they tried to accommodate themselves to get the house built. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all.
This seems like a miscommunication between HOA and
Yeah.
county code, which if you bought a house in a subdivision, you not necessarily go up to the county ordinances and say, you know, with this temporary apartment, possibly guest house. You're not thinking about that.
Right.
I don't see. Valley County or built that way.
I have no concerns with it.
I plan to do this myself someday, so. All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit application 21-23, Coughlin multiple residence.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Neil, did you vote? Yes. All right, motion carries. There is a 10-day appeal period with the Board of County Commissioners if anyone is unhappy with our decision. Thank you very much. Alrighty, next item on the agenda, CUP 21-24, Needs RV Park. This is also a public hearing. Is there any ex parte or conflict of interest?
No.
No.
All right, Cindy, can we please have a staff report?
Okay, so if you look at the map up here, I just want to show you which lots they actually own. We have this lot, this lot, this lot, and this lot. So they have 4 lots adjacent to each other. They own this entire area here. Just for your information. Okay, the staff report for conditional use permit application 21-24, Stephen and Kathy Needs Family Trust. The property is addressed at 3 Miller Lane in Grattan Barnard Subdivision Number 2, Lot 71, Block 3. Stephen and Kathy Needs are requesting approval of a conditional use permit for the rental of 2 RV sites on 1 parcel. No tent camping would be allowed. The lot currently has 3 RV hookup sites. 3 sites have electricity and 2 have septic hookups. Water is hauled to the site. The applicants are asking for the rental season from May 1st to September 30th of each year. The 0.35 acre lot is addressed at 3 Miller Lane. The lot is accessed from both Miller Lane and Ann's Avenue, both are public roads. The applicant also owns the adjacent home addressed at 1 Miller Lane and 2 adjacent bare lots to the south and southwest of the proposed site. The application was received on August 6, 2021. Legal notice was posted in the Star News on August 19th and August 26th. Potentially affected agencies were notified on August 10th. Neighbors within 300 feet of the property line were notified by fact sheet sent August 10th. The site was posted on August 31st. The notice and application were posted on the Valley County website on August 10th. Agency comments received. Central District Health has a record of a septic system installed in 1994 for a 1-bedroom home. The system is not sized to accommodate the flows for more than 1 RV site. If 2 RV sites are connected to the system, one of them must be disconnected until a septic permit is obtained to increase the size of the drain field. Neighbor comments received. William Platt, 460 Bill Beth Road, is opposed. The road system is maintained by the subdivision property owners. The dirt roads have no drainage facilities and cannot take additional pressure. Adding commercial use will increase the traffic concerns at the West Mountain Road and Miller Lane intersection. Other concerns are noise, dust, vandalism, and theft due to the strangers in the area. Physical characteristics of the site is relatively flat on the north end at the RV sites and sloped on the southern portion of the lot. Surrounding land use in zoning includes single-family residential subdivision. The proposal is categorized into 5 commercial uses: E, recreation, business, 4 campgrounds and facilities. Staff's compatibility rating is a positive 31. The Planning and Zoning Commission should do their own compatibility rating. I do have some questions. For Central District Health, the septic is only sized for 1 RV. Would the applicant only rent to 1 RV or increase the septic system? Has the dirt covering the septic lines washed away? Are there any pipe lines showing? And I asked that because I had a comment in my office from a neighbor that thinks that something's washing away towards her property and there's some pipes showing. I just wanted the applicant to address that. In 1971, an ordinance was adopted. 3. Will these be long-term rentals for workers or recreationists with changing people every day or weekend? In 1971, an ordinance was adopted regulating the development of mobile homes, including recreational vehicles. Mobile home parks and developments may be classified as residential uses, but in this situation, I believe the use is categorized as a commercial recreation use. These requirements consider the following: reasonable frontage, separation from traditional residential uses, not located near marshes, central water, sewer, and power, harmonious appearance, community facilities, circulation, facilities and amenities, open areas, site views, topography, size of sites, parking areas, lighting, walkways, parking services for the RV and driveways. Those are just things I picked out of that ordinance. Staff's proposed conditions of approval, if you choose to do so, are as follows. 1, the application, the staff report, and the provisions of the land use and development ordinance are all made a part of this permit as if written in full herein. 2, any change in the nature or scope of land use activity shall require an additional conditional use permit. 3, the use shall be established within 1 year or a permit extension will be required. 4, the issuance of this permit and these conditions will not relieve the applicant from complying with applicable county, state, or federal laws or regulations, or be construed as permission to operate in violation of any statute or regulation. Violation of these laws, regulations, or rules may be grounds for revocation of the conditional use permit or grounds for suspension of the conditional use permit. 5, all lights should be fully shielded so that there's not upward or horizontal projection of lights. 6, shall clearly post the address at the site. 7, noise shall be kept to a minimum after 10 p.m. 8, the third RV site should only be used by friends and or family, not as a rental. And 9, must have approval from Central District Health for a second hookup to the septic system. I prepared the staff report. I gave each of you a letter concerning the commercial and industrial uses with the minimum setbacks. And I wanted you to look through those setbacks. This isn't a clearly defined type of use. These are RVs. I mean, you want those complying with the recreation business setbacks of 50 feet from the rear and front. I mean, that's the whole lot. Or 30 from the side. So I just wanted to make sure that you had these in your hand when you were making decisions. And the applicant does have a copy. I handed them a copy also. And that ends my staff report.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions for staff?
I don't have any.
No.
I have none.
All right, we would, at this time, we'd hear a presentation from the applicant.
Excuse my pillow, I just, second day out of a sling, so. We bought this, we own the home on 1 Miller Lane.
And could you state your name also for the record?
Kathy Needs.
Okay.
And our address up here is 1 Miller Lane in Meridian. It's 3786 East Florence Drive in Meridian. We have a home, we spend half the year, equal time at both homes in Meridian and up here. We bought the surrounding properties just because they were for sale and we didn't want nobody building on top of us. The people that owned, we bought this property that we're talking about in 2019, And main reason we bought that is because the people that owned it before had anywhere from 3 to 5 RVs on it at a time. And it was driving us crazy. But our goal is just to rent it seasonally, and we want to get the opposite of a snowbird. When they come here for the winter or the summer, that's what we want. We really don't want to be renting it out to different people all the time. We're going to rent it for the season. So the thing about having strangers in there all the time isn't an issue. As far as the maintenance on Miller Lane, we're the only people, even though other people live on the other side and now at the end and all around the corner. Nobody else has ever maintained that road. We're the ones that maintain Miller. I'm nervous speaking in front of people.
Don't be nervous.
I sing in front of people, but I can't speak in front of people. Go figure. But anyway, as far as the septic goes, that's fine. We can just do the people that live across the street. It's all RVs up there. Nobody has a home up there. We're the only one with a home. And they all have porta pots up there. And they haul their water in. So that wouldn't be a big deal to us. We'll just rent it as a power only and just have one hooked up to septic. Because they have to haul their water anyway. Or get it from us. So, which wouldn't be a bother anyway. Because we have our own well. So, and as far as, the speed and vandalism and all the other things they're writing in the letter, I mean, who's going to worry about it more? We are, because our home is right there. So we'll have oversight and a contract that if they do anything that they're not supposed to be doing, that they're in breach of contract, so they'll have to leave. But it's just sitting empty. We have 4 lots. We use one half-time. And when they talked about the use of the land and the roads, I think we're paying for all that use for all 4 properties, and it's just the 2 of us. And as far as somebody said they want to put it, have it for their grandchildren and stuff, that's why it's in a trust for our children. So. Any questions?
All right.
Anything else I should cover?
Like a seasonal lease.
That's what we're going to do. Yeah, we're hoping to get other couples at Snowbird for the winter, and then they come back for the summers. So
Is your existing house hooked up to that same septic?
no, it's
Got its own
separate.
septic system.
Yes, and it's got two septic things on it, and there's no. I don't know what they're talking about land being shown. The only thing you see with the septic is the caps, where you hook up. That's the only thing that's showing. There's nothing else showing. And we have improved the look of that property in the 2 years by far. And the only one maintaining Miller, like I said, is us, hauling in gravel and all that stuff. Nobody else has offered to help with dust or anything else.
You plan on hauling in more gravel to
Yeah, and we're going to haul in more because it kind of happened by accident. We were gone this winter, and one of the neighbors was building a garage, and they set their staging area on our lot. So they had all this big machinery digging up on our lot, and so we had to get gravel in, and we're going to have to get more. But anyway, it looks a lot better than it did before we bought it.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I don't have any.
I have a question on that septic. So that you don't have an actual septic system just for the RVs?
Yeah, we do. That's why I was kind of shocked when they said,
It's not showing it on here.
Yeah, Central District Health said that they have a septic on that lot for a 1-bedroom that was issued,
Yeah, on the one bed.
and it's a separate lot than their house.
our house is
This-
1 Miller Lane.
Their house is on 1 Miller Lane, and they're proposing this, or it's been set up for this use on 3 Miller Lane. So they have a septic on 1 Miller Lane and a septic on 3 Miller Lane.
And Central District Health classifies like when you hook an RV up, it's like half of a hookup or half of a bedroom. It's
They can work that out with Central District.
Oh, really? Then they shouldn't have a problem with two RVs.
or something. I won't speak for them.
Especially when it's just half a year, you know, it's not like it's gonna be year round.
That's why I was reading that. It is almost.
It is what?
It is almost.
Right.
Let them work that out with Central
Right.
District Health.
Yeah.
So would you be opposed to putting a restriction into your conditional use permit that says no short-term rentals?
What if we can't get it rented that way? But, I mean,
The reason I ask that question is because in my mind, that changes the use. A long-term rental is more of like a residential use, whereas a short-term rental is more of a commercial use.
what classifies as short-term? What if somebody wants to stay a month?
I would say 30 days or
Okay.
less is
I
short-term.
would do that,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'm gonna have to do, we're hoping to do this, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to find the right people, because even if they are you know, that's what they want, but they've got 10 kids and 14 vehicles, I don't wanna do that.
Right, right. We had a brief discussion at one of our last meetings about, you know, the housing crisis and what are we going to do to get worker housing here. And we talked about people advertising on Facebook saying, hey, I've got a spot, you can park your RV, which technically needs a conditional use permit. But if that's what I thought this was as a result of that discussion. And I thought that's great. Like, we need to promote things like that. But what is a different discussion is short-term RV
Well,
rental
we don't wanna
spots
do a
coming out.
turnaround like that either, because we're not up here all the time.
Yeah.
So if we have people we don't know and they're just coming in and out, there's no way to monitor it.
I just wanted to make
And
sure
I
that
don't
we were
want
talking
my
about the same
house burned down with all my trees.
Yeah.
Or four-wheelers going through everything.
So I wrote as that condition, will be rented for a seasonal lease for a minimum of 30 days, semicolon, 1 user per month.
And you're asking for 3 spots on this lot.
Well, no, actually, we're just gonna rent two. The third was for my kids if they want it, because they've all got trailers. So
Oh, okay.
if they want to leave a trailer up there, they can, or if they want to leave their boat up there or something, because,
Perfect. Yep.
yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, at this time, we would hear from any proponents who would like to speak on behalf of the application. Seeing none, any undecideds? Go ahead.
I am Sherry Lester. I am their neighbor. I have, my address is 456 Ann's Avenue. I live just below them.
Perfect.
And I do live up there permanently, as I just got a job at the vet office, in my trailer, in my garage. I have been doing a lot of research on their septic, and I have a problem with it. They do not have actually 2 drop spots. They have 1 drop spot and a clean out spot. I have the original permit from the original owner of the property. If you would like to see it, I printed it all out. It is for 1 bedroom. I have spoken to the inspector that inspects this Cascade area, and he has done the numbers, and 1 bedroom is equal to 1 trailer. He said that no more than 1 trailer can hook up to it at a time. So you can use a clean out as a drain spot, but you can't use both of them at the same time. And so that's why I'm undecided, because I live below them. And so unless they get it redone with a bigger spot, they can't use both of them at the same time, in my point of view. And if If you guys would like this
Yeah, if you
information,
want to submit it to Cinda, that would be great.
I think we
Welcome
have
to it.
I think we have all of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll just note for the record that there's no one else in the audience, so I'll go to the phone. Is there anyone on the phone who would like to speak to this application? All right, hearing none, we'll give the applicant a chance at rebuttal if you'd like to speak again. You don't have to if you don't want to. No, all right. All right, any other questions for the applicant before we close the public hearing?
I don't.
I have none.
Scott?
Nope, I was just reading
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it to the table for discussion.
Just, Central District Health, like Cinda was saying, we need to work things out with them.
That condition was, only one RV can be hooked up to a septic and one will need to be,
Okay. And that is what the Central District Health letter says. Is that what you saw too, Scott? Yeah. So, could you maybe add a little caveat in there that says unless the septic system is upgraded?
I really had nothing else to add on it.
Right. I am really glad that they clarified about the long-term rental because I think it's a completely different animal if it's not. But I think that in this crisis that we're in for short-term rentals, things like that could be really helpful around the county. So.
No, I agree.
Any other discussion?
I don't have anything.
All right.
Make a motion to approve CP case 2124 needs RV park with conditions as stated. I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. There is a 10-day appeal period with the Board of County Commissioners if someone is unhappy with our decision. Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is the facts and conclusions. Do you want me to read them all out, or does my person who's going to move going to read them all out?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
Have a good night.
Take my pillow and go.
Motion that we approve the facts and conclusions. CUP 2115, V-1-21, BAC 23, BAC 24, BAC 25, CUP 2119, CUP 2120, CUP 21, and
Authorize the chairman to sign.
authorize the chairman to sign. That's what I was looking for.
You forgot it way back at the VAC
I was
21
thinking
dash.
of numbers.
Yeah. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Lori will be right back with those for your signature.
Should we turn off the recording?
No.
Oh.
Let's chat a while.
Oh, okay.
I
Did-
wanted to let you know, remind you that we have the next P&Z Board of County Commissioner work session 2 weeks from tonight in this room. And the object of that meeting is we are going to identify some potential areas to zone or create overlay zones. We'll be thinking about, those areas, that should be commercial, industrial, residential, or those that have already been established for that. Okay, so, get your P&Z hats on. And then, I don't know if you read the newspaper today, but we did adopt an emergency ordinance. Tuesday, the Board of County Commissioners did prohibiting 20-acre splits without doing a subdivision plat. Because we're getting so many that, they're getting septic approvals first. We don't know if that's power, the roads are substandard. So we changed that 20 acres to 160 acres. And I've actually placed that for formal public hearings with the Planning and Zoning Commission starting October 14th. And that is a legislative matter, and you can talk to people about legislative matters. You can't talk to them amongst yourself. It's the site-specific things that are quasi-judicial that you can't talk to the public about. Legislative matters such as ordinances, you can talk to people about.
This is what we're gonna be talking about.
No, I just gave you that for the Needs RV Park. I just wanted it in the record. And that gave Lori time to get those facts and conclusions back.
Which Johanna is busy signing.
Right.
So are we adjourned so we can, I didn't know how to turn that off, Lori.
Real quick before we adjourn, did you want to discuss any more the enforcement of short-term rental safety, health and safety measures?
We cannot unless it's on the agenda.
Oh, we can't? Okay, do we want to schedule a time to put that on the agenda to discuss it at a future meeting?
Good idea. That concerns me. We're letting them do things as if it's a house, it's a venture. And we don't know, nobody knows if they're holding place to a standard where people can come and go.
No, but your October agenda is extremely full. Maybe we can get an opinion from our deputy prosecuting attorney. But not at this meeting.
He's saying thank you.
It's not on the agenda.
We make people, yeah, we need to have these
Right.
agendas, so comply with the open requirements.
Yep. So, would you like to put it on the very busy October agenda, or would you like to
No, just
discuss it in
sometime
November?
the future, yeah.
Something to talk about.
Maybe around November.
I
Okay.
just think it needs to be, I think we need to do something.
And
Would it be appropriate for?
does that give us
No, I
proper
don't
notice?
In my opinion, I'm sorry, I don't want to get sidetracked from that conversation.
Right.
I think it's really important that I get that direction so I can start towards rewriting the comp plan and the ordinances, and that is our topic that night.
That's why I know it's a very concerned as well.
It won't take long, but
Okay,
I
well-
agree with Scott, totally. It needs to be addressed somehow.
Okay, well, we can put it on that agenda.
It's
gonna take 5 or 6 people to go out and enforce
I
it.
feel like.
Right.
Same things into consideration. It's basically a motel.
Would it be your, right, but a short-term rental is?
Basically.
You want us to go out and inspect all of those, what, every month?
Well, no, but there should be something to get the ball rolling for whether you have the fire extinguisher guy in the call goes and inspects all the fire extinguishers, so he can sign off on them and make sure. So if there's something in.
To me, it's more than that. It's, if we're telling them you need to do this, and then they can go out there and just blow us off, there's no teeth to it.
But that's with,
Why we bother?
but that's with all of the conditional use permit
Yeah.
conditions,
Yeah.
all of them, right? But we say, well, we're not gonna allow you to operate more than 10 weddings per year, but I'm not counting them.
No, who is?
Right, but if we've told them, you need to have these monitors, the only reason we did short-term rentals to start with, because of the 20 people that went to the hospital on Don Drive, because the carbon dioxide things had been shut off, which had previously been inspected.
Well, and that goes back to the same thing we were just talking about. If it's in our minutes that says you shall do this, and they don't do it,
That's on them.
it's on them because we've already got it written down.
Right.
And so that's that's a piece of that it takes the
Yeah.
liability off us.
Right.
And I don't know that's what you're concerned
They
with.
have paperwork they gotta fill out to pay their sales tax and all that, vet tax and all of that stuff. I mean, why is there not something in place for inspections? That type of stuff.
Because we thought that would be extremely cumbersome on
But we were
fire
able, we
departments.
were able to do the sales tax.
That's a new job for them.
That's a state legislative, that's a state law.
This other should be a state
We can
law.
get a new
We'll
job for
take it up with the state legislator.
We haven't quite adjourned yet.
Okay.
Don't leave.
Where'd Brian go?
He left.
He was out of here.
Yeah, he's
See the
done.
smoke trail out the door.
He was gone.
So
Carpet's burned right there.
We are still recording.
That was Cowboys game.
let's go ahead and adjourn the, did we decide on a date, October? Do you want to discuss it in October at our regular meeting or November at a regular meeting?
Can you say October's a big month?
October's
Let's do November then.
November.
packed, but maybe we can have something.
And maybe we can just watch until there's one that's a little less, like tonight wasn't too bad.
Given the concerns that are being expressed here in this meeting and various other concerns related to enforcement, it seems to me that it's going to be a very long conversation. And I think all ideas are good ideas until we kind of land on a plan for how to implement some sort of enforcement protocol. That conversation again.
It was a major part of the conversation when we adopted the short-term.
Yeah. Source concerns.
All right, so November it is. Meeting adjourned.
Where did that Brian go? We're gonna tell Brian that we made him.
He's already going home with little daughter.